The moment Simon Cowell leaned forward, eyes wide, mouth slightly open, the entire theater seemed to forget how to breathe. The last note still hung in the air, trembling, alive, refusing to fade. For 3 seconds, 5 maybe, there was nothing, no applause, no cheers, just shock. Then the crowd erupted, a tidal wave of sound crashing over the stage. And standing there under the blinding lights, hands shaking, heart pounding, was a Filipino man who had just sung Elvis Presley on America's Got Talent, and changed his life forever. But before we get there, before the standing ovation, before Simon's disbelief, before the judges rose from their seats, let me take you back. Because this voice didn't come from nowhere. This moment was years in the making. And if stories of impossible dreams, quiet sacrifices, and one brave step onto a massive stage move you even a little, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel. These stories deserve to be heard and shared. He grew up in a small Filipino household where music was never a luxury, but a language. The radio was always on, filling the room with old love songs, ballads, and classics his parents adored. Among them was Elvis Presley. To him, Elvis wasn't just a legend in a jumpsuit, he was comfort. When days were hard, when money was tight, when life felt uncertain, Elvis's voice felt steady, powerful, reassuring. As a child, he sang along softly, never imagining those songs would one day carry him across an ocean. Life, however, had other plans before dreams. Responsibilities came early. Like many, he learned that talent alone doesn't pay the bills. He worked long hours, took whatever jobs he could, helped his family, and sang only when no one was really listening, at gatherings, in karaoke rooms, late at night when exhaustion was louder than hope. People told him he had a nice voice. Some said he sounded like Elvis. He smiled, thanked them, and went back to work. Years passed. Dreams don't disappear, but they do get quieter. They wait. Then one day, almost by accident, he saw a clip from America's Got Talent. Ordinary people. Extraordinary moments. A single performance changing everything. Something stirred. Not confidence, fear. Fear mixed with longing. He thought, what if? What if he tried? What if he failed? What if he never tried at all? Telling his family was the hardest part. Not because they didn't believe in him, but because belief doesn't erase risk. Traveling, auditions, time off work, it all felt impossible. But his family knew something else too. Regret lasts longer than failure. With trembling hands and a heart full of doubt, he auditioned. Standing backstage at AGT, reality hit hard. The room buzzed with nerves. Singers warming up. Dancers stretching. Magicians whispering to themselves. Everyone carried a dream, and everyone looked terrified. He clutched the small item he brought from home, a reminder of where he came from. When his name was called, his legs felt weak. The stage lights were brighter than he imagined. The judges felt farther away than on TV. Simon Cowell looked at him and asked the simple question that always feels like a test, "Tell us about yourself." His voice shook as he spoke. About his family. About music. About Elvis. A few people smiled politely. Simon nodded, curious but guarded. Then came the question that mattered most, what are you going to sing? An Elvis song. There was a pause. A risky choice. Legends invite comparisons. Comparisons invite criticism. Simon raised an eyebrow. The audience murmured. You could almost hear the unspoken thought, another Elvis impersonator? The music started. The first note changed everything. It wasn't imitation. It wasn't karaoke. It was raw, soulful, and deeply personal. His voice carried the weight of years, of sacrifice, of distance from home, of dreams postponed but never buried. He didn't just sing the song, he lived inside it. The power surprised the room. The control stunned it. And the emotion, real, unfiltered, cut straight through. Simon's expression shifted. From curiosity to confusion. From confusion to disbelief. As the song built, the audience leaned in. Some closed their eyes. Others grabbed the hands of strangers beside them. This wasn't about Elvis anymore. It was about a man finally being heard. When he hit the final note, strong and fearless, silence fell again, followed by thunder. The crowd stood. Cheers echoed. Judges looked at each other, stunned. Simon shook his head slowly, almost laughing, as if trying to process what had just happened. "I did not expect that," he said. "I really didn't." His voice carried rare sincerity. "That was incredible." Tears welled up in the singer's eyes. Not because of praise, but because, in that moment, every sacrifice felt seen. Every late night. Every doubt. Every time he told himself singing was just a hobby. The yes votes came quickly. But the real victory had already happened. He had faced fear and won. Backstage, he broke down. He thought of his family watching from home, probably crying, probably shouting at the screen. He thought of the little boy singing along to the radio, never imagining this stage. He realized something powerful: dreams don't have expiration dates. His journey on AGT continued, but no matter what happened next, that audition became his turning point. Not just for his career, but for his belief in himself. He had proven that talent can travel any distance, that voices from small rooms can shake massive stages, and that courage often begins with a single step forward. And that's why this story matters. Because somewhere right now, someone is watching this with a dream they've tucked away. Someone who thinks it's too late. Too risky. Too unrealistic. But if a Filipino man singing Elvis could make Simon Cowell stop in disbelief, what might be possible for you? If this story moved you, inspired you, or reminded you not to give up, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us keep sharing stories that lift people up, stories that remind us all that dreams are still alive if we're brave enough to sing. Before Simon Cowell even reached for his pen, before the judges said a single word, before the crowd exploded into cheers, there was one unmistakable truth written across his face: pure disbelief. He leaned back, shook his head, and laughed softly, as if what he had just heard didn't make sense to reality. And right there, under the blazing lights of America's Got Talent, a Filipino singer had done the unthinkable. He made Simon Cowell doubt his own expectations. Moments like this don't happen by accident. They are born from years of silence, sacrifice, and songs sung when no one is watching. And if you love stories where ordinary people rise up and shock the world, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel, because this journey is one you won't want to miss. Long before that stage, long before the cameras and applause, his life was simple and heavy at the same time. He came from a Filipino family where love was strong, but resources were limited. Music lived in the background of everyday life, playing from old speakers, filling small rooms with big emotions. Among all the voices that played through the years, one stood out above the rest. Elvis Presley. Powerful. Emotional. Fearless. When he sang Elvis songs as a boy, it felt like borrowing strength from another world. But dreams don't always get room to grow. Responsibility came early. Bills had to be paid. Family had to be supported. Singing slowly became something he did in private after work, during gatherings, in moments stolen from exhaustion. People noticed. They always did. "You sound like Elvis," they'd say. He would smile, laugh it off, and never let himself believe it could mean more. Deep down, though, the dream never died. It waited patiently. Every note he sang quietly carried the same question: what if? The idea of auditioning for America's Got Talent felt impossible. Too big. Too far. Too risky. He wasn't young anymore. He wasn't famous. He didn't have connections. All he had was his voice and fear. But sometimes fear is a sign that something matters. After many sleepless nights, he made the choice that terrified him most. He applied. When he finally arrived at the audition, reality hit hard. The theater felt massive. The stakes felt crushing. Backstage, he watched other contestants, confident, nervous, talented, broken. Everyone wanted the same miracle. As his name was called, his heart raced so loudly he wondered if the microphone would pick it up. Standing in front of the judges felt unreal.